How's it going, everyone? Sessiion here. Welcome to a Final Fantasy XIV video. And today we're going to be covering 3 community ideas submitted by you guys that you guys have talked about a lot in regards to quality of life updates, changes, and things that you would like to see implemented into the game for future patches and expansions. And so today we're going to actually cover a glamour side of things, if you will, so the Glam edition. And we're going to cover 3 ideas that people have been actually wanting for a while. And I don't know if other games incorporate this or not, so if 14 does have the opportunity to do this, it would be really, really cool. Additionally, 2 of the ideas that we have are also very similar to each other, but also have a little bit of a differentiation as well, so we'll cover that too. Now, with that being said, I do want to say thank you again so much for constantly providing support and giving us your ideas and having us kind of convert these, because obviously a lot of people have a lot of really great ideas, and I really hope that Square finds an opportunity to take some of the ideas and just steal them and then just put them in the game, right? So hopefully that's like a opportunity that they can take advantage of, and that way the game has a better quality of life for some of these features. With that being said though, the first idea for the Glen edition is actually the idea about tattoos, and that they should be optional on gear that automatically includes them. And so today I actually have the piece that the person has in mind, because, well, first and foremost, with tattoos such as this one, you cannot change the color of the tattoo, which is not the case scenario for every single piece, because there is one other piece that we can quickly take a look at that has a similarity to it, but I'll cover that later on. But yeah, this is a chest piece that you can acquire. It's an Endwalker piece, and when you dye it, it lets you change basically what is the dark black, right, and then the sleeves on the inside, but you can't change the tattoo. And additionally, you can't do anything with the tattoo. So removing it as an option, if there was like a toggleable function somewhere, right, like if I go to my character's person and then like I can like, you know, press a thing and then like toggle function, something of that nature, right, it'll at least just remove the tattoo and therefore be a almost entirely different piece just because of that feature alone. And honestly, I understand that there's not a lot of pieces of gear that automatically include tattoos, but there are a couple though, and those tattoo pieces, granted, is kind of part of the idea and like the aesthetic, like for sure, but there are some that also, I would like that to either be its own piece or to just not have it be incorporated, right? So another example that I want to showcase as well is I'll find it when I find it, but it's that like sleeve, that Skywalker singlet. Yeah, this is the piece. So this piece additionally automatically has a tattoo attached to it. Now, don't get me wrong, the tattoo is really cool, but the real appeal for a lot of players is just the tank top like aesthetic that it has. And realistically for me, I'm also in agreement. But the cool thing is, at least with this piece, ever since it did become double dyeable, before, when you try to dye it in the single version, it would only dye the tank top. But the second piece actually does change the tattoo color, which I thought was very fascinating. And the fact that you can actually like kind of dye it in a certain color so that it matches with your skin tone, and then it kind of like fades, but there's not like an exact color that removes it altogether, but it does technically exist, right? So I think that just taking out the tattoo would be a great idea. Or honestly, if they just come up with like another piece of a Skywalker singlet, but it just like has parentheses like no tattoo or something, or it has a parentheses and it says tattoo, then that's also an option. And therefore you can have 2 different pieces. Now, I don't have an issue with them having 2 pieces if one has a tattoo and one doesn't, and then they're both on the market board for one reason or another. Like, I don't actually mind that. But the option of having the tattoo on and off would be honestly like a really nice quality, because there are certain pieces, like I said, that just really look good because of the outfit it has, but again, the tattoo thing kind of changes it up. Now, I know that, you know, tattoos are cool, right? So again, if you're into them, you're into them. If you're not, you're not. So having that option is honestly just kind of like nice, you know what I mean? So that's the first idea. And to actually segue that into a second idea, the idea is that you can actually add tattoos via character creation, and they drop like hairstyles. Now, there is kind of a caveat to this, because there are technically already tattoos, but they're like face tattoos. But people want like body tattoos, you know, which, you know, like you can use the power of ink to do things, and it can create like an art around your body. And I'm sure like a lot of gamers out there who play 14 have tattoos around their bodies anywhere and somewhere. And like what they are is obviously up to their personal preference and choices. Like for me personally, I don't have any tattoos on my body, so like if I did have one though, it had like an arm thing maybe. Like it'd be cool to have like an arm tattoo and then actually acquire tattoos you can get in game and then have that be showcased in you know, on your character. Now I think at the same time, if they ever decide to add tattoos, that would be very, very difficult because they have to actually apply it to every single race, every single height, every single gender. You know, the tattoos have to be kind of like unisex, which is like the easy part, right? But they got to cover every single race, and I think that's the hardest part. But in theory, if they ever did decide to do that, I think that people would be very shocked by it, and I'd be very intrigued to see if Square Enix made their own tattoos up, what they would incorporate in a game like this at the base level. Additionally, though, I think that, and this is kind of the idea that they were thinking about also, because I think they want to design these, is that you can actually submit ideas in like a contest for tattoos that can be implemented in the game. So Square already does this with the weapons and the hairstyles, where contests are kind of showcased like throughout the year, and you can submit ideas for weapon designs as well as hairstyles, and then eventually they'll kind of pick the ones they want, and then they'll release it as like a patch thing, and then they'll use it as like a design, which is really cool. Actually, I'm a really big fan of that. One of the most recent iterations of this was actually the like joking weapon system thing, where if you get the Figmental Coffer, that you can acquire like that really cool like flower lotus blade for Dark Knight, or like with Gunbreaker you look like the shark tooth looking weapon, and then all the cutlery like silverware, that was that design thing. So they had that as a contest, and then people came up with a hilarious idea of silverware, but it won the contest, and so they just kind of kept it going forward, which I thought was really cool. So the idea, I guess, to actually incorporate that, but like with tattoos, to have it be brought into this game. And I'm assuming that they probably could pick like one or two, and then they just kind of release it in waves, and so that way people can, again, character creation tattoos beyond just like the face and the color. So I thought that was a really cool idea. I think people, like I said, like just like tattoos, so that being an option, I think just would be appealing to a lot of players that naturally have tattoos on them, like IRL, you know. And last piece, and this is kind of the my idea, but I think that I would love for them to find a way to, again, have a toggleable function where you can mirror pieces of gear based on how it's worn. Now, I don't know how easy or difficult that would be, but I'm going to explain, because again, the chest piece that I have is a prime example of this. So currently, my left hand has the sleeve down, right, and then I have like my tattoo like revealed, and then of course the sleeve is down on the right side, right? Now I thought it would be really cool if I can actually switch that sleeve side, so that way my left sleeve was exposed and my right sleeve is actually covered while I have my weapon out, and that way you can actually see that the weapon and the sleeve is showcased like the way that it is, right, but just backwards. And there's actually a lot of pieces of gear that, surprisingly enough, like if you do like a mirror flip to them, they actually dramatically change how the piece looks like on that person, especially with hand pieces. There's one piece in particular that I had in mind, and it's actually easier if I show it to you via the Dragoon list, because it's the one that I saw that like right away that I was like, I want this, but I want it backwards, and then you just can't get it backwards. And it's this icon leather arm guard piece. Now I understand that this piece is like a unique piece, but yeah, like, you know, the thing is that the right side is kind of like that little like cuff on the by the elbow, and if I had like a different shirt on, then it'll actually cut out the entire right side, you see, and then the left side is like that arm guard, which I thought was really cool. But the thing is that it only like has my right arm available and exposed, and my left arm is covered. And so this is at least one example where if I could flip it, then I'd be really happy about that, right? Because then it kind of lets you play around with certain pieces of glam in one way or another. And again, I don't know how much of this can be easily implemented, and I don't think that this is going to be like something that like breaks the game per se, but I feel like you could come up with something like this, like an idea, and then it'll actually kind of have like great results. Now, again, I don't think that you have to do this with every single piece, and I think that's why it's kind of nice to think about the idea that it could be implemented, because the majority of the pieces that you have in the game are just mirrored on both sides, right? But there are a handful of pieces where sometimes it does at least showcase like that small difference. Like even this piece too, right? Like obviously it'd be cool to have that little like hook thing on the other side, right? But in cases like this one, where the piece of gear is exactly the same on both sides, it doesn't really matter all like too much. So I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that they kind of find an opportunity to do something like that, because I think that if they did, it'd be pretty cool, you know. Now I think that being said though, it also might incorporate the idea of them adding more gear down the line that is specifically like different on both arms, so that you can toggle that option. Because the other piece of gear that has this situation occurring are earrings. A lot of earrings in the game currently are only one-sided earrings, and you cannot pick and choose which ear to put the earring on. And I will admit, this is like a weird pain point that apparently like affects a lot of players. A lot of people are like, why, you know what I mean? And I totally get it, because they do make it very clear whether the piece has only one earring or if it has two, which I do think is great. It kind of does give you the indication, albeit very subtle, but again, the fact that it's not particular is kind of weird, you know what I mean? So I would like for them to be able to also make that a functionality. But again, right now at least, there's not like a toggleable option. You can just kind of wear it, which again is cool. But again, I'd like to be able to, you know, have one or the other. Or in this case scenario, with earrings in mind, I would make them either have, you can wear one on one side or actually both, right? That way it's not just forced that you have to wear the earring on both ears, which again, I definitely don't mind. But if I could just wear only one, at least that's also an option, right? So I think that's the idea. So yeah, thank you again for submitting your ideas about this. Again, I really enjoy hearing people's ideas and creating the theoretical and thinking about what kind of possibilities that they could create in this game. And of course, we'll come back to you next time with more ideas. So thank you for watching and tuning in. Thank you for submitting ideas. Again, our Discord and our comment section on YouTube is a great source of where you can actually provide ideas. And then, of course, be sure to share this with people and let them know that, hey, like, you know, we're trying to come up with ideas and we want to try to make the game better, and hopefully that the devs can listen to the feedback, you know? So, thank you again for watching and tuning in. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day. Take care.